Okay, here we go with lesson 6-6. Number 1, we have 4 and 5/7 minus 1 and 6/7. Common denominator is already there. 5 minus 6 we can't do, so we must borrow. Four now becomes a 3, and we add the denominator to the numerator. That gives us our new numerator, which is 12. Denominator stays the same. Now we can subtract 1 and 6/7. 12 minus 6 is 6. 3 minus 1 is 2. Number 2 is a little bit different. Four minus 3 and 1/3. In this case, there's not a fraction, so we can't subtract 1/3 from nothing. So again, we must borrow. We're going to make this a 3. Now, this whole number that we just borrowed from the 4, we've got to make it into a fraction. There's infinite amount of ways to write it as a fraction, but since we already have a denominator of 3, we'll use that denominator and write the whole number as 3/3. Now we can subtract 3 and 1/3. 3 minus 1 is 2. Denominator stays the same, and 3 minus 3 is 0. So our answer is 2/3. Number 3, excuse me, we did not do number 3, number 4. 6 and 1/5 minus 2 and 7/10. Okay, we've got to find a common denominator of 5 and 10. So I'm going to write the multiples for 5, which are 5 and 10. So we've already found that the multiples of 10, 10. Common denominator of 10. Now let's make equivalent fractions. 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 2 is 2. 10 times 1, this stays the same. 2 minus 7 creates our problem. We can't take 7 away from 2. So here's where we borrow. We'll rewrite the problem. The 6 now becomes a 5. This is where we add the denominator to the numerator for our new numerator. 10 plus 2 is 12 over 10. Now we can subtract 2 and 7/10. 12 minus 7 is 5 over 10. 5 minus 2 is 3. If you notice, 5/10 is not in simplest form. So let's break that down. Divide both by 5. Our new answer is 3 and 1/2. Number 5. 10 and 5/9. Whoops. Minus 2 and 2/3. LCD, least common denominator of 3 and 9, I believe is 9. There it is. This one's going to stay the same because 9 times 1 is 9, 5 times 1 is 5. 3 times 3 is 9, so 2 times 3 would be 6. 5 minus 6 can't happen. This is where we must rename or borrow. We'll borrow from the 10, make it a 9. Let's add 9 plus 5. 9 plus 5 is 14. Denominator stays the same. Minus 2 and 6/9. Now we can subtract 14 minus 6, which is 8/9. 9 minus 2 is 7. Our fraction's already in simplest form, so that's the answer to the question, 7 and 8/9. Number 6, you're going to do on your own. I think you can handle it by now. If you get stuck, just go back and look at these problems that we've solved, and hopefully that will help.